So I did. I kind of saw an influx. I'm sure you guys probably saw the same thing with your media outlets, where it kind of became a trend for after a certain point. You can go on anyone's Instagram. I'm sure you'll probably find their normal feed. Everything is completely normal, and then probably a black square thrown in. What I noticed was it was a lot of reposting. It was kind of an overload of information at first, so it was a good solid 2 weeks where everything was kind of organized, consistent, everyone was kind of on the same page, spreading information, kind of waving everything else out, calling out who needs to be called out and doing that. But then it was kind of just like everything else where something else comes in and takes the distraction away. We lean back on COVID, talk about the more outbreaks and everything else going on, which kind of was like the whole actual plaza itself to me. It's just something that they put up. It looks great. Doesn't really change much for us. And then just like the paint on the street, gets walked over and everyone just goes on to the next thing. So yeah, it was cool to see it. I mean, we had people coming out, people performing at the plaza, people protesting. I know they did yoga last night. Just a lot of different versions of protesting. But what I want to make sure is that it's not a trend and that people are actually following up with next steps. Also, another part for the drive, to give people actual next steps, no matter what your socioeconomic position may be, because a lot of times people think, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the power. If you can go out and do something for you, your friend, your family, whoever it is, you doing that subconsciously gives them the green light to go ahead and do that for somebody else. And just try to spark that or keep that feeling going and just try to create that, because unfortunately a lot of things do just like the companies, same thing with the little advertisements. It's for a check on the box, hey look, we're with you, we're doing this. But if you're not actually out here fighting, you're not coming up with new policies or new ideas, or coming up contributing in your own way, it's not really doing anything. It's cool, it's a thumbs up, it's a go ahead. But that's just like the same thing as the cops who took a knee. They took a knee just like us, but then turned around and so just hoping it's not, just reminding people that this isn't a trend. These are people's lives. This is something we've been having to deal with since we were born, before we were born, even coming into this where our parents already thinking these things to teach us, like we were talking about a little bit. But, yeah, just making sure it's not a trend. We need to keep this going. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring about the full change within our life, but I just want to be able to open the door and help lay the ground so we can build a foundation, we can build a structure to then build upon. These are problems that have been going on since the beginning of time, so for us to try to change that isn't really realistic at first. We just need to each focus on our next steps. We have a mountain in front of us, and instead of just trying to pick it all up, everyone just take their stone and we'll be able to move it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always kind of had the counseling, social work kind of idea for a career after basketball, and started to go more into business and sales and stuff like that. But seeing the amount of people I've been able to affect and impact, and just the natural ability of the people around me, the people I've been doing this with, the team we've created, and the networks that we've done, it's just brought me honestly as much joy as hitting those game-winning shots, making it to certain teams and stuff. And it just makes me feel good, man. Money's never been the biggest thing. Being single mom, oldest of 11, never really came from much. 5 years, I hope to be playing somewhere, using my platform to continue to help push the movement, continue to use those connections, build resources, build more opportunities for people. In 5 years, hopefully, the podcast, the community drives, we're going to have clothing drives, recycling, other stuff like that. The environmental side of things, but just to kind of continue to build foundations, and hopefully 5 years I'll have my system set up where I can impact it on a larger scale, move out of the DMV, maybe hopefully move statewide. A lot of people don't realize we got biopics and movies coming out about Flint. Flint still does not have clean water. It's been almost a decade. This is the U.S. government once again saying, oh, this is good to go. Here's what you're doing. These are our citizens. This isn't a U.S. territory. that became ours, like Puerto Rico, where they didn't even really receive help the way they should have. They received more help from Haiti, who had just gone through their own earthquake. Places like Guam and other U.S. territories, but an actual mainland U.S. city, town, all that whole area is still affected by not having the ability to have clean water. So yeah, Maryland, we had a little water line break. So I think they had the same thing. It was a couple 100,000 people that a lot of people didn't even hear about. Southern Maryland, Prince George's County, right next to the capital, didn't have clean water for over a month, I believe, and a lot of residents weren't even made notice of it. But yeah, we definitely need to do what we can. Easiest way, just like affecting the racial change and how that starts internally and in the home, changing the environment, stuff like that, starts in your backyard. You walking past your house, you have trash in your yard, you have trash just pick it up. You don't have to go out, you don't have to go on the side of the highway, pick everything up. Just start with your little area, and that's what we did. It was our scavenger hunt. It would just change, like every 2 weeks. It would be like, get 4 items with a fast food logo. So it could be a bag, it could be a cup, it could be a little tray, it could be whatever. But just doing it safely, making sure that people weren't picking up like broken glass, obviously, and stuff like that, but just see something, do something. And that's always kind of been the way I try to live. If I didn't like something or I didn't see something, not just talk about it, go out and actually try to change it. Yeah, this has been something that's, I've been talking to a lot of different people. It's different angles to it. Just like the same thing with the social problems being economic problems with social effects, just like the water and then like just the funding basically. But coronavirus, it was a good thing and a bad thing in a lot of ways. So I know a lot of people be like, what? Like a lot of people have lost their lives. There are a lot of families getting affected, and obviously that's very unfortunate. It's very sad, and I want everyone to continue to stay safe and stay healthy. But I feel like it was also a good thing too. We've never really across the board had a time where we've all been just forced to stop, focus on what's actually going on, what's really in front of us, and to get right. So for a lot of people, it's a very scary time. They've never had to worry about an inflow, like a steady inflow of money, inflow of food, stuff like that. When people that come from where I come from, certain things like that, we've lived our whole life like this, like kind of always just rolling with the punches. And having that time, it keeps everyone inside, so everyone's is so pent up and so built up. So whatever it is, they're gonna kind of use it as an outlet. So I feel like it's a political and obviously it's a health move for everybody. It was a good thing for Trump, I feel like, especially with the George Floyd protest. You keep people inside, once again, like we're saying, without you guys or the podcast or other people showing other sides of media, they just get fed terror and madness all day. And then he comes through, deploys National Guard, they show certain things like the plaza when there's protests going on in other parts of the city. People don't realize that it shows that he took kind of control of everything. That's what they think. It's like, oh, you know what, National Guard came in, Army Reserves, all these people came in and just they handled the situation, shut this down. People are going crazy. People are blowing up businesses, doing all these things, killing people, and it's not completely true. There are going to be looters and rioters, and I have no problem with that. If you're actually doing it for a good purpose, if you want to do all that. But the coronavirus itself, honestly, I don't have enough information to make my full statement on it. It's just there's too many things going on, from Bill Gates to the actual whistleblower doctors that actually released the information about it ahead of time and end up mysteriously dying of like mysterious circumstances and stuff like that. So it's a good and a bad thing. Obviously, people's lives being lost are bad, but I feel like we wouldn't have gotten also as big of a push, or even the people that were having it as a trend. I don't think the movement would have came along at this pace without it. Just giving people something to really focus on, and people, like a lot of people just wanted to use it as an excuse to go outside. I saw people coming out just taking pictures. Like I know y'all seen the fake protesters with drills and no screws and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think it's kind of giving us all the time focus on us and get right. So I'm leaning toward more to the good side.
Yeah.